Hi folks, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be answering a question that I get asked a lot lately, and that is, can you tour on the GB350s? Look, the short answer is you can tour on any bike, right? It just depends on how much you're willing to suffer. But in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the good and the bad with this bike. Now, I've had it for about a year and I've done a lot of road trips on it. The last one being a 6-day trip of over 1,000 kilometers, which I'll pin the link for that video in the comments below so you can check that out later. But the bike has some really good points and some not so good points. And I figured it would be a good chance to let you guys know that if you are considering this bike and thinking about touring on it. The other thing I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to break down 3 different types of seat bags which I've used extensively and tell you what's good and bad about them, maybe help you make an informed choice on which kind of bag you should get if you are considering getting some kit for your GB. So let's get into it. The biggest drawback to the GB for touring, which is also one of its best features, is its looks. It's a beautiful bike, and that beauty comes from the fact that it's naked. It's just stripped bare. And that means that it comes with absolutely no wind protection. So when you're out riding on extended periods and you're getting hit by the wind, all of that wind is going to be blasting onto you. You've got no protection. And that does get exhausting. Like, take a look at this footage right here. This is me on a bridge crossing in about 60 km/h winds. It was absolutely exhausting. In fact, that 500 meters of the bridge was more exhausting than the 150 kilometers that followed it. So yeah, be aware that if you are riding the GB on long tours, be prepared to be slammed by the wind while you're doing it. Okay, so the next big drawback to the GB is also another of its great features, and that is its voice. That beautiful note that you get from the long stroke single is fantastic when you're riding around, but on a long day, you're going to start to get annoyed by it. All singles have a vibration to them. All singles have a thump. And as far as singles go, this is actually quite a smooth one. But if you really want to avoid having any kind of vibration on long rides and things like that, then maybe you're going to need to look at a parallel twin or a V-twin or something in that vicinity. Singles have a thump. Okay, so now people are probably expecting me to talk about the power, or lack thereof. But it isn't such a problem with the GB. You see, the GB has all its max torque way down low in the RPM range. It's 3,000, 3,500. So even with a whole bunch of gear on the back, it's still got plenty of grunt to pull along as it usually does. It's by no means a fast bike, but it doesn't really suffer when you're loaded with the gear. This is a really comfortable bike to ride, especially on long trips. It has a really good saddle. It's got a nice grip pattern to it. It's very wide. It's about 30 centimeters across here at the widest point, tapering into about 20 in the front. So it's a very comfortable saddle that offers you a lot of support when you're riding. Combine that with the riding position, this is a super comfortable bike. I've had this out on 6-7 hour rides where I've taken minimal breaks and never had an issue. So another great feature about the GB for long rides is its geometry. These front forks, they're not overly raked out and they're not too vertical either, which means that it's really nice and smooth through the corners when you're out on those B roads, those country roads. It doesn't feel either, it's not too lagging like a big cruiser would be or too twitchy like a sports bike. Okay, so another great feature with the GB for touring is this fuel tank. This is a 15-liter capacity fuel tank and it gets fantastic fuel economy. Even when I've had it under heavy load with a lot of gear on the bike, high winds and cruising up mountain roads and stuff, I'm still getting on average around 550 kilometers from the tank, which is fantastic fuel economy, especially in a 15-liter. When it's not burdened, it's getting closer to 650. I mean, it's pretty impressive. So yeah, the GB, it's a pretty good tourer. It's far from perfect, but I mean, what bike is? Okay, let's go talk about those bags. Okay, so this is the first bag in the series of 3. This is the Komine adjustable bag. Now, this is on the cheaper end of the spectrum, so this is not a really expensive bag. It's not super high quality build, but it's quite an interesting bag because it is adjustable from 36 liters out to 56. These zips on the side here, and when you zip it closed along this axis here, and the same on this side, sometimes it's a little hard to locate. There it is. Like that. Essentially, you compress the bag down from 56 liters when it's fully extended down to 36. I think it's 36, but somewhere in that zone. And that makes it really good for if you don't always need to have a huge bag on the back of your bike. When it's compressed like this, it has this piping here along the edge, and that gives it a little bit of rigidity. But when you extend it out, you lose that rigidity. So the bag tends to sag off the sides of the bike. It's not overly modular. It does have a few places where you can hook other things onto it. It has these little straps here, but it just doesn't have the structure to really hold anything too substantial on those straps. Access is another good point of this bag. So you can open it up like that. You have this little section here. This is just a cool little section that's easy to access. I throw my rain gear in here when I'm using it for that. That'll cinch down. And then if you want to access the main compartment of the bag, you unzip that, pull that flap back, and you have access to your main compartment here. You can also access that from both sides by undoing these side zips. And then, as you can see, it's kind of like a tunnel. You can access straight through there. It's very versatile and it's not expensive. I don't know the exact price, whether or not this one will be available in whatever market you're in, but you'll be able to find something that kind of resembles this pretty much anywhere in the world. And everything I have to say really applies no matter which way you go. Down past to it, it's not overly waterproof. It's not overly good looking, and the build quality, it's a little flimsy. You don't want to go crazy on price. This is not a bad option. Comes with a raincoat as well, so it gives you a little bit of extra security if it does rain. It's not the thickest material I've ever seen. It's not double stitched. They're not sealed seams. So I wouldn't consider it to be heavily waterproof, but it'll give you a bit of protection from, say, some light rain. If you're on a budget, fantastic bit of kit. I used the hell out of it. I got great use out of it. Okay, next is a beautiful bit of kit. This is the Outlaw duffel bag by TripMachine. This is a thing of beauty. All leather, all handcrafted, beautifully made, very stylish. Has a capacity over 50 liters, but absolutely beautiful bag. You see, it's got this nice strap. You've got these beautiful buckles, which just pop them like that. Okay, and then when you open it up, it rolls out, and you have a top zip, which you can unzip all the way till it will actually clip out. And then it has these buttons on each corner, which you can then pop open as well. And inside, it's just a large open space. Very beautiful, very well made, all leather, just gorgeous. Now, it also has these nice pockets on the front. They're secured by Velcro. Another one here, which is, you know, a substantial amount of size. You can get a few things in there. And one also on each side here. Absolutely fantastic bag. I love this thing. It comes with also a raincoat, because it isn't completely waterproof. I'm pretty sure because it's sort of oiled leather, it can handle a bit of a splashdown, but just in case, it comes with a raincoat as well. And it also comes with a really cool shoulder strap. So once you get off the bike, you can fling it over your shoulder and you can go looking all stylish into your hotel. Now, it secures to the bike in a little bit of a stranger way than most bikes do. It has these really cool old canvas straps. And these are basically your anchor and your hook style strap, like that. And you've got a really nice secure strap. And that will feed through these leather loops here and down here. And you'll feed that through there and then connect the looped end to the rails of your seat carrier, etc. This is where I have a problem with this bag for how I use it. Because these straps aren't cinchable, you can't pull them down and get them nice and tight. It's just the way the buckle's designed. As you can see, they don't cinch. You really have to figure out how tight they need to be before you connect them, which makes them just have that little bit of give. Now, the bag is not going anywhere when it's on the bike because it's also secured with an additional strap. So it has this additional small strap. Again, this has a little hook, and that'll feed into in around your carrier rail and come up like that. And this hook here will connect to this large patch on the bottom. And that's on both sides of the bag. So it's very secure. It's not going anywhere, but it just has that little bit of movement. And that's not something that I personally love when I've got a bag that's loaded with heavy gear. If you just had clothes, etc. in here, or some light stuff, it wouldn't even be noticeable. But I carry a lot of batteries and cameras, and that stuff's just really heavy. The bag will move a little bit. The other issue I personally have with the bag for using on long trips is that it's not so easy to access because of the way it straps to the bike. In order to access the main compartment, I have to take the straps off, open them up, then open the bag, access my gear, and go through the process again to secure it. And I tend to put the straps really tight, so they're pretty hard to take off and on the way I set it up. Because while I'm out riding, I tend to be filming. I'll be stopping constantly throughout the day and needing to access the bag. So that was a little drawback for me. However, if I'm doing just a fun trip where, you know, I'm going somewhere and I'm gonna pack some clothes and a few things in here, take a trip, go see some friends, stay at their house, stay at a hotel, all those kind of things where I don't need to take the bag off throughout the day, it's awesome, it's beautiful. Let's get on to the next bag. Okay folks, and this is our last bag. This is actually my go-to when I'm out riding. This is the 48-liter Overlander by LoneRider, and this bag is absolutely awesome. Number one thing is it's completely rainproof, waterproof, dustproof, very ruggedly built. I don't have to worry about anything that's in here getting damaged, no matter what the conditions, which is just a huge relief when I'm out riding. It's incredibly modular as well. You can attach all kinds of things to this bag, and you have no issues with all your gear. Very easy to access. So it has this really cool function, which is this top flap. This is, they call it the beaver tail. And this top flap is completely removable. So on here, you've got all your webbing, so you can attach more bags to it. And if you flip it around the other side, you've got this clear, watertight pocket where you can put anything you want in there, but I have a map. And if you're riding around and you want to, you can also install it upside down as well. And that way you've got access to the map anytime without having to flip it over. And an additional purchase that you can do is you can get a hydration bladder from the company that will fit in here, and you put water in there. So when you're riding, you've got a drink whenever you need it as well. Because its straps are really adjustable, you can adjust them out to quite a length. Just do that right now. You can have this as a top flap and basically place things underneath here, whether it's your rain gear or some shopping or whatever, and cinch it all down. And this will effectively hold whatever you have on the outside of the bag down. So it gives you just like an extra 15-20 liters of storage capacity on the outside of the bag, just using the beaver tail. Now, when you want to access the bag, it's really easy. You have a top little strap here, which you unclip. You pull that through the handle there. A couple of clips on the side, which you can then roll open the bag and open it up to access the inside. Now, one of the other things I love about this bag is that they put a red insert in here, which gives the bag its rigidity. But with it being red, it just makes it really easy to find things in the bag in lower light, which is really nice. Inside, you have a couple of pockets, a couple of mesh ones on either side, and another zippable pocket here. When you go to cinch it down as well, you roll it tight. And because it's completely rainproof and dustproof, it also means it's airtight. So once you roll it down, cinch that down, it has an air valve here which you can pop open and compress the bag down right to your gear, saving a little bit of space. Absolutely love this kit. Also it had reflectors on all sides, so it's just a little bit of added visibility to when you're on the road. And if you're a bit like me and you have a little bit of OCD when it comes to your straps, they've even thought of that, which this really stood out to me. So on each of the straps, you have these little Velcro tabs, just like that. And then what you can do is you can roll your straps once you've got them into the position you want. You can roll them all the way up, and your straps aren't flapping around. You don't have to worry about tying them off on each other. So, oh wait, we've got, sounds like a dirt bike. And you don't have the straps flying around in the breeze, and then you don't have to worry about tying them around themselves to try to keep them short so they're not kicking around. So every single strap on there has that, which is just a brilliant little feature, and it shows that the company has a lot of experience with dealing with being out on the road on the bikes. One more little feature about this bag that really stands out to me is this one. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and connect it all up right now, but it essentially comes with a set of backpack straps. So you can turn this bag when you hit your destination or you want to move around. You can connect these straps and you can turn your 48-liter Overlander into a backpack, which just makes it a bit easier for getting from one place to another. Downsides to the bag. Everything's got a downside, and the downsides are Maybe its looks, if you want something that's overly flashy. It's a very simple, minimalistic design. It's not, you know, it's black and gray, so it's quite simple, it's understated. So the looks might be something that hold off the people. And of course, it's on the higher end of the cost frame. So like the Outlaw Duffle, they come in Japanese around about 50,000 yen each, whereas the first bag is sort of more around the 10,000. So it's about a fifth of the price for that first bag. But for the quality of the build, what you get, all the thought that's gone into it, in my opinion, it's highly worth it. Hopefully this video has been helpful. If it has, remember to hit that like button, drop a comment below and subscribe, etc. And most of all, happy riding.